Hey guys, what's up? It's Katie and I am back with a little video on some changes that I would like to see in 2019 from Kabam. Now, as most of you know, I've been playing this game for almost 4 years now, pretty much since its inception, and I've had a lot of fun, playing it, and I can't believe how much this game has evolved in this amount of time. I think it's evolved way more than a lot of the players ever expected, and probably even more than Kabam has expected. But there are still some areas of the game that are stuck in the past, and some areas that I think can totally be improved upon. I think these changes that I have in mind will benefit all of the players across the spectrum, from, the longtime players to the very new players, even the ones in between, and will help the game feel like less of a grind and maybe more enjoyable. So in this video, I'm just going to go over a few things that I would like to see changed or improved on in the areas of arena, war, dungeons, the monthly event quest, leveling up, and maybe some changes that Kabam as a company could do for all of the players. Maybe. Now, remember guys, these are just my ideas, and some of you may agree with me, some of you may disagree with me, some of you may agree with some and not others. That's fine. I totally value all you guys' opinions. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments below, whether you agree, disagree, or what changes you would make. If you don't want to make your comments below, you can always hit me up by clicking the link in the description below for the Discord chat, and let me know, what you guys think could be improved upon in 2019. Maybe in 6 months, I'll update this video and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so let's talk arena. Now, in this first arena here, this is one that I would love to see updated. Now, if you look at the current arenas going on now, the 5-star shards have been doubled, and I think that is a great change, and it totally needs to stay in the game. Me, personally, I only go for the 11 to 30% rank rewards in this arena because I don't have time to grind much higher than that. And I don't want to spend units to refresh my top champs in order to get higher. So I think we're at the point in the game where more 5-star shards should be introduced, and I think they should be introduced in the arena because I think that's the best place for it. Now, overall, I'm fairly happy with the current arena system. It's a good way to get resources, but what's also good about it is it's not necessary to build your account. I mean, I can go a week and not do any arena, and I don't feel like I'm losing any progression in the game. So I would like to see that the current milestones that are shown here to stay in the game permanently. So 2 more arenas that I would like to discuss are the Class Catalyst Arena and the dreaded Sunday Arena. Now, the Class Catalyst Arena has been in the game forever, and I really don't think it's ever been updated. This arena is somewhat useless because high-level players don't need Class T4 CC, so they don't grind for it, and lower-level players don't feel like they can grind this arena out because the top prizes are so pathetic. I think it's about time that Kabam finally put a T4 Class Catalyst in a milestone because, they're due for it. Think about it. The players need to be able to grind for it easily, and Kabam updated the T1 Alpha Arena and the T4 Basic Arena, and this one just kind of fell through the cracks. So I think it's time to update this one in 2019 to help the up-and-coming player base. Okay, let's look at this dreaded Sunday Arena. When this was first introduced, it was pretty awesome because at the time the rewards were good. But once again, it got outdated. I personally would like to see this arena just totally removed and replaced with something else that we could do on a Sunday. A lot of people don't even grind on Sundays. They take it as their quote-unquote day off. So one idea that I think would work well would to be have a gold arena where you could get a tremendous amount of gold, maybe equal to the Halls of Fortune, and it would rotate it out with a T2 Alpha arena where if you grind out the top milestone, you could get a quarter to a half of a T2 Alpha. I think that would give players that need the gold a day to grind, and the players that want a little bit more T2 Alphas a chance to grind for it. So let's talk about dungeons, and those of you who have been watching me know that I have always been a big fan of dungeons. When they first came out, they were a daily thing, which was kind of a bummer, but Kabam updated it to every 3 days, which I think was a huge improvement. I do enjoy the fact that they are only, the last 2 weeks of the month, but that kind of leaves a gap at the beginning of the month, which I think would be best suited to be filled with some other type of rotating event. Something small that can be done with like your people in your friends list or your alliance mates and allows you to earn a currency that is already in the game. I am not a huge fan of dungeons having their own currency. I kind of think it's dumb. So my thought here is just like a small scale event that you and your friends can compete in for prizes, and whoever is ranked top, there we go, gets the top prize, and so on and so forth down the line. Maybe some kind of like quick attack challenge with some type of class restrictions or something like that. There are a million ways that Kabam could implement something like this, and I think it would be an awesome addition to fill in that gap between the beginning and the end of the month. Oh, and the main issue that I have with dungeons in its current state is that when dungeons come back into the game, it really affects the performance of the game. I mean, this is really exacerbated for Android players for sure. Because when dungeons come back in the game, it seems to get way more laggy, we have way more dropped inputs, and I feel like the game goes into emergency maintenance a lot more often, and this is something that Kabam really needs to work on, because it seems like their quality control with this, not good. And so another thing I would like to see in dungeons in for it to be updated is the rewards. I think if you go through a full cycle of dungeons, you should be able to get a 5-star crystal once a month. In the current state, it takes, 2 to 2.5 or 3 dungeon cycles to get a 5-star crystal? I think this needs to be updated, or we need to get more dungeon shards every round in order to open up a crystal once a month. I definitely think we're at that progression point in this game, and also I think it would give players more incentive to do dungeons, because the way it is now, a lot of players don't even bother with them at this moment. That being said, though, I think the top priority should still be server maintenance. I feel like the servers need to be fine-tuned before any updates come to dungeons. So now let's move on to a more broad topic, and that is war. And I am not a fan of seasons. I know a lot of people that have been stressed out about these war seasons, and I am one of them for several reasons that I'm not going to get into. But I do know that there are some players out there that like war seasons, but they're a lot less vocal than the ones that hate it. But from my perspective, the overall feel is that the seasons are negative. So I would basically love to see seasons just leave the game. Just get rid of them entirely. I think Kabam should take season rewards and distribute them per war depending on your alliance tier. Now, do I think they will ever get rid of seasons? No. But one change they should make is shortening that 5-war window. I mean, think about it. It locks players and alliances into situations for far too long. The 5-war window, I mean, it was okay when seasons originally came out and they were 2 months long, but now that they have been shortened, I think this war window needs to be shortened also to maybe 2 or 3 wars. So one thing I'm curious about, though, in 2019 is how Kabam is going to implement these global nodes and allowing alliances to choose them. Will that make seasons a bit more interesting? Who knows? But as I stand, and the way that seasons stand now, I kind of see this global node doing more harm than good to the game and the player base as well. But that's just my opinion. Another change in War that I would like to see is it going from a more resource-based aspect of the game to a more skill-based aspect of the game, because as it stands now, it is very resource-based and pay to win. Now, I understand that Kabam needs to make a profit, but this is one portion of the game that has the highest and most sought-after rewards, and I think it should be more of an even playing field. Now, of course, just hold up there. I know what you're thinking. The big spinners, they're always going to have the advantage because they buy more crystals to get the better champs, and then they buy the offers to rank up the champs, and that's understandable and totally acceptable. But what I'm saying is resources needed to revive and heal your champs are a little too expensive. So I would like to see a player get a certain amount of items like we do now for free or very inexpensive. And once those items are used up, you're out of the war. That's it. And I think that would totally change War from more resource-based and pay-to-win to more skill-based. And I think that will help out a lot and make it more of an even playing field. Now, I doubt that we'll ever see that happen because War is extremely profitable for Kabam. However, I kind of think it can also be the downfall of this game because players are consistently getting burned out over this with the amount of resources and money it takes to compete in the high levels. I think having Kabam make wars cheaper and, kind of more even for the entire player base, I think would be the best change for this game. I mean, think about it. They can always find way more ways to get that revenue back. And while we're on the topic of resources, another thing I would like to see changed are potions and revives. I think all potions and revives throughout the entire game should be percentage based. I don't understand why some are and some aren't. As champion health goes up, these level 5 potions, they're just not cutting it. I mean, they're not. It is costing way too much to revive and heal a champ all the way back to full health. I know, they did help us out with the loyalty store in this area, but I think they could do better. Or if they're not going to make them percentage based, let's introduce a higher health pot because this 6,000 health pot is just not the best, for the level of chance that we have now. It's just not cutting it. So now I want to talk about the monthly event quest. And, where it stands now, I think the rewards, they're fine. The only issue that I have with it is that Kabam, they tend to take way too long to release new content to match their player level. I mean, think about it. It took us way too long to get this uncollected difficulty. I think it should have been in the game at least 6 months, prior to when it was. I'm thinking in 2019 we're going to need another level of difficulty with, a better build above uncollected. Now, I would hate for them to wait until 2020 to release a new difficulty, and I'm not saying it should be done anytime soon, but I feel like it should be released after the end of Act 6, but, so in like the 3rd or 4th quarter of the year, I think is when we should have it. It would be a shame if Kabam lost players due to loss of interest in the game because there just wasn't any harder content introduced monthly. And I get we had the variant, but that's permanent in the game, so just a little thought. Another thing I want to talk about is leveling up and masteries in this game. As it stands right now, the level cap is 60, and it's been there forever. And you know what? That's fine. Unlike most other games, you don't really gain anything by leveling up your account. I mean, you get a few items here and there and some mastery points, and I'll talk about mastery points in a minute, but I kind of want to focus on introducing some type of level up past 60. So I think we have the perfect amount of mastery points. I do not want to see any more mastery points added to the game because it's going to take us back. It's going to take us back to where everybody is running the same mastery build back in the day, you know. That's how it was before Kabam added more options for your mastery points and started introducing champs like Void that took a very specific mastery setup. There was basically 1 or 2 mastery setups, and, you know, that was it. So, introducing more mastery points, I don't think will be beneficial, but, you know, we need a little something to aim for after 60, because once you hit level 60, there's not much left to do as far as leveling. You're stuck. So what would I like to see introduced into the game as some sort of alternative leveling experience? Well, wow. There's several ways this could be done. Now, they could introduce a point system where every time you level up, you can get a point and you can put that point into a specific stat. You know, nothing so drastic that it's worth grinding on experience for, but something that's just like a little bonus for hitting a new level. So I used to play this game called EverQuest, and it allowed you to do this very same thing. Once you hit a level cap, you were just able to increase your stats a little bit for every level gained above the cap. And I thought that was pretty cool. Now, if Kabam can't find a way to implement something like this reasonably, another way they can make, you know, going above level 60 a little more beneficial is, you know, maybe after every level you hit after 60, you get a T4 basic. Nothing spectacular, just a small bonus. Most players in this game are at level cap, so having an alternative leveling system past 60, I think a lot of them would really enjoy. This also gives us, you know, an excuse, or not an excuse, a use, I should say, for those XP boosts that we're either selling or burning on item use. Alright, so now I want to talk about masteries. Not the actual masteries themselves, but how we spec into them and how to make changing them easier. This is one thing that I think has been overdue for a long time now, and I know a lot of players have suggested it. So another game that I used to play back in the day was called Rift, and in this game you were able to spec into different masteries, and you were able to save those masteries and change them on the fly. They called them souls, but for this purpose, I'm calling them masteries. So I played a rogue, and a rogue could have, you know, a defensive spec, an attack spec, and so on and so forth. Now with the specs, I could just change in between them whenever I needed to or as the situation called for it. And I think Kabam needs to implement something like this where you could have a, you know, preset mastery setup that you can change without having to go through that tormenting process of, you know, reclaiming all your points and respecking them. So in theory, you could have a build for arena, for AW defense, or for attack, and then you could easily swap between them with a simple push of a button. Now, of course, because Kabam's got to make a little something off it, I understand that there would be a cost to this, and I'd totally be willing to pay a little bit of units in order to easily switch over between mastery builds. Another huge problem that I find with masteries is selecting them. I mean, there really should be a drop-down menu for every mastery once you've unlocked it where you can just, you know, click that mastery, choose the level you want it, and be done with it. It makes zero sense to me why I have to click a mastery 5 times to level it up to 5. I mean, that's stupid. So these are the things that I would love to see changed in 2019 as far as the game is concerned. Now, of course, there are some changes I would love to see Kabam as a company make, but that's a whole different video in itself. Now, it's not all negative. Kabam did a lot of really cool things in 2018, specifically with champion development and new content. I think 2018 was one of the best years for this game, and I only hope that 2019 is better. I think, some of the changes I have suggested or variations of them would be pretty cool. What are your thoughts? What changes would you guys like to see in the game? Please let me know in the comments below or hit me up on Discord. That's all I've got. If you guys liked what you saw and you want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and hit me up in the link below in the Discord chat. Thanks, guys. Bye.